Trigger warning, you're not going to believe what I'm about to show you, because you're going to tell me, oh no, you're just a soft parent, and then that your child is going to end up being disobedient because you don't believe in beating him, you don't believe in chastising him, you don't believe in embarrassing him. You're going to disagree with my next video. And that's okay, because she's not wrong in what she's about to tell you. If you've ever beat your child, I'm not saying I've never beat my son. What I'm saying is I stopped beating my son because I realized then nothing was going to change if I didn't change myself. If I got an ass whooping as a child, it didn't make me more compliant. It just made me sneakier. It just made me want to do the things that you were telling me I could not do. What worked was letting me understand that, you know what, you can do this. And the consequence would be, okay, you can't go outside, or you can't hang out with your friends. Those were real consequences. You never had to put your hands on me. Once you told me what I couldn't do, it was like, you know what? Yeah, let me tighten up. That was the last of my ass whoopings. But for some of you, you still do these things. You demean, you degrade, you beat your child. And it's almost as if you're trying to make them submit to you without having to use your vocabulary. Roll a clip.
And this is going to sound freaked up, but one way to really survive a Black American parent upbringing is reading slave narratives. A lot of things will start making sense when you realize a lot of Black parents parent as though they were still products of the plantation, because a lot of how we learned to govern ourselves and also our families was under the oversight of our captors. And we still live amongst our captors. I mean, the police departments we have today started out as slave catchers. So a lot of how we know to discipline, a lot of how we know to oversee things comes from our own enslavement, even if that means carrying out the same behaviors of our overseers and in enslavement in our own household. So this is why a lot of times when you're brought up in an African American household, if they have not healed from the trauma of past enslavement, you will be brought up as though you were on a plantation. They will use the methods of enslavement, whether that be trying to break your spirit and humble you into submission, whether that be extremely abusive forms of punishment, whether that be whipping with extension cords, or even like leather whipping tools as they did on the plantation, whether that be forced religion, especially Christianity, because that's also what they did on the plantation. Your upbringing will really reflect that of your ancestors, and the fact that your ancestors never learned how to parent and be amongst each other in a governable body without adopting the rules and activities of their enslaver, because that is the only time they were shown some level of parental love, so to speak, in this continent. So now our version of parental love is greatly tainted and guided by our own introduction into this part of the world, which was through cruelty, force, and brutality on the basis of Blackness, and therefore whoever is related within it.
You still with me? Okay, if you made it to the end, it's all right. Take a deep breath, because all the things that you've learned that you thought were correct as parenting, you can unlearn them. You can learn some new things. There are parenting classes. There are plenty of resources. And you can also just talk to your fucking children. Don't talk at them, talk to them. Because what I've also realized in my grown ass adult age, that a lot of my close friends in age don't even know how to handle conflict. They either shut down and do childish things like block you, ghost you, ignore you, or they become defensive and combative when you tell them you don't like something, or you don't like something that they did to you. And I realized then, like, you know what? Maybe they didn't have a safe space as a child to say these things. Maybe they were told to be quiet. What Oprah say? Were you silent or were you silenced? And there is a difference, because if you didn't say anything, you were silent. But if you were punished for speaking out, you were silenced. And a lot of the not being able to handle conflict, like she said, is the post-traumatic slave disorder. Because our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, literally 3 generations back, are literally just coming off of the plantation. If you think about it, the 70s when women could have control of their finances. 1970 was not that long ago. So you think if someone was controlling your money by either coercion or abuse, or just didn't fucking give it to you, then you started treating money as if it will never come back to you, which means your children didn't even have the opportunity to say, do we have McDonald's money? Because in your mind, you would never get it again. And then if you had a child that was out of line or out of pocket, instead of you having a conversation with them, you resorted to, oh, I only know that when I got an ass whooping, I got it together, so I'm gonna beat my kids. Yeah, no, baby. That's not how it works. I have a lot of conversations with a lot of different people on the same fucking thing. They don't know how to handle conflict, they can't handle disagreements, and they don't know how to set firm boundaries with people. I said what I said.